Morning, legends. We're going to pretend that today is actually Friday because it's Saturday. So, welcome to Fix Me Fridays. What we do is you guys comment in the comment section below what your injuries are, and me as a physiotherapist, I try and help you as best as I can on Friday. So, let's get to it. If you have any injuries for next Friday, let me know in the comments below, like I just said, and we'll rip that injury apart, get it fixed straight away. Let's do it. Now, this first question is a bit of an update on someone that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. They have patella tendon issues. That's the tendon right here. And essentially, they tried everything and they've got lots of progress. They're still able to run a little bit, but they get that 3 or so out of 10 pain when they're running. Not ideal, and probably something that I would not push past. Now, they have been struggling despite the fact that they've drastically improved their strength, range of motion, all the kind of stuff like that. They're just not seeing any more progress. And usually in the case, if you're having tendon issues and you're not seeing any progress, even though everything else in terms of your rehab and stuff is actually getting better, then perhaps it's something else going on that is, masking itself as patella tendon issues. The thing is, in the knee, there's lots of other stuff in that area that could actually present as knee patella tendon pain. You have a fat pad that sits under the tendon. You also have a bursa in that area. You have lots of little things all around that area of the knee that could give you similar symptoms. And without me actually assessing you in person, in real life, putting my own hands on you, it's hard for me to say what's actually going on. What I would say is maybe you have to go to a different person, try and continue with the tendon rehab that you've been doing and explore other options. Tendon rehab is going to get you so far, and then if it's not actually a tendon, say for example if it's the bursa that sits under the tendon, it's just going to continue flaring up no matter how strong you get, how much range of motion you get back, how good you're running. Something like that would present like how you're saying, where it's just not quite getting better and your progress has stagnated. So give that a think. Maybe go see someone and talk about maybe some bursal investigations. Usually they do a ultrasound or something like that, and they might even be able to just get that bursa sorted out for you. There you go. That's the only update for today. Let's do it. Okay, injury number 1 for today is from a fellow YouTuber, Ben. What a legend. He's been around on this channel since like the very start. He posts really cool documentaries of like ultra marathons and stuff. So I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. Go watch his stuff. It's good stuff. But he has some toe pain, which is not good. So last year in training, a few weeks out from a spring race, I was 3 miles, that's 5 kilometers, into a 20-mile long run. That's like, 32 kilometers. And it started like a weird cramp at the insertion point of my toes to the rest of my foot. Quickly it became unbearable. It then moved to my ankle and then my arch area. I rested up for a week and then it was fine and then back at it. Well, base training this year, and it happened again. It hurts in the morning, goes away mostly during the day. It started last Thursday, so I took the weekend off, but didn't really take the weekend off because you're a wedding videographer, photographer guy, so you were putting in 30,000 step days. Not ideal, but that's okay. What are my thoughts? From what you're explaining, it sounds to me like there's probably some sort of plantar fascia stuff going on, considering it's moved around quite a lot from the ankle, things like that. That whole complex is an energy storaging. It's an energy storage complex, okay? And maybe you are just dealing with some not very happy tissue that hasn't really been strengthened in the right way. What I like to do for this kind of stuff, especially like you've described it, the stiffening in the morning, that's usually connective tissue like tendons, things like that, and then they ease off. I would say that you need to start to implement some sort of strategy at the gym and also in your runs too. I think potentially you could experiment with modifying the footwear that you're wearing throughout the day, maybe going into something that's a bit more protective just to allow this to calm down as we build it back up. I'm not saying that you have to go into some really big cushioned shoes that cost $350, these Max shoes that are everywhere now. You don't have to go in them. I'm just saying maybe a bit of a heel raise or something like that, just to offload this plantar fascia while we actually build it back up. What I like to do for these is a calf raise protocol similar to what I've talked about in other videos, where you slowly build up from double leg to single leg, into the plyometrics. But we add a slight toe raise on the big toe. What this is going to do is, if you have your foot here, as you elevate your toes like this, you tension the whole plantar fascia. And this is why your foot at toe off gives you so much power, okay? Because you're tensioning your calf and your plantar fascia at the same time, and then that toe off is what's giving you that recoil, okay? What we want to do is try to strengthen, starting at a flat foot and working our way into greater and greater toe extension. What I would usually do is get some sort of like, do I have a rolling pin? Bro, I swear we had a rolling pin somewhere. What the hell, man? Where's our rolling pin? Okay, we don't have a rolling pin, but the way that you would do this is you would put some sort of circular cylindrical object against a wall and do calf raises off the ball of your foot with your toes elevated onto that circular cylindrical object. What that's going to do is it's going to tension the plantar fascia, and as you rock on, you can start to strengthen this in a very nice way. Starting with isometrics, add some weight in a backpack or something, do really long sustained isometrics, then go into working through a full range of motion, and then start to add in some plyos again, slowly build it up. But this only works if you offload it somewhere else so that you can build it back up. Anyways, hope that helps Ben. Get around Ben's channel, link in the description. It's not this garbage shoe review content stuff. It's just normal, wholesome making videos, and those are the channels that I actually like. So there you go. Next, injury. Okay, next question. I rolled my ankle and kept off it for a couple of weeks and rolled it a couple more times since, a lot of smaller rolls. Now, my ankle feels 100%, but sometimes on uneven surfaces, I get pain. If you're still getting pain on uneven surfaces, then even though at rest it probably feels like 100%, there's probably still some sort of healing process going on in that ankle. And so what I would say is to stay off the uneven surfaces for a little bit longer and try and make your ankles absolutely indestructible, okay? The way that you do this is by improving your calf strength, your foot strength, and also your balance, okay? Get a pillow, throw it on the ground, okay? Stand on it with one foot, and every runner should be able to close their eyes on one foot on a pillow and do a star excursion where you basically draw out like a 5-point star with the other foot that's in the air. You should be able to do that very comfortably on both sides. What you might see is that the side that's still painful, you might have some proprioceptive deficits, meaning your proprioception, or the way that you can respond to little bits of weight change and stuff to keep yourself balanced. It's probably not up to scratch to the point where you can actually run on uneven surfaces just yet, because your body just can't control that, okay? What you can also do is get a band like this and do some resisted band work. So we get the band and we attach it to something out of the camera shot. And then we attach it to our foot, and we can go straight like this. We can go out. That's improving our ankle strength. What we can also do is take this same band, put it on an object out of camera shot on this side, and move our ankle this way. Those two, plus calf raises, plus balance, plus plyometrics when you're ready, and then start to think about adding in some running off roads. There you go. Okay, next question. I think it's about IT bands, which is quite a common one that comes up quite regularly, actually. I've been suffering issues and knee pain from my IT band of my right leg, which has improved considerably after easing off and doing some rehab exercises for 6 weeks. But now that my running load has started to increase again, I'm having issues and pain in my hip adductors and groin. it can feel strained and tight, particularly after a long run, to the point that walking is slightly hobbled. Oh, okay. It seems to ease up after walking a short while, but worsens with no activity. So it starts to get pretty sore. Should I take complete rest or work on more targeted and specific strength exercises? I'm going to give you 5 seconds to figure out what I'm going to say. Both. We're going to rest, we're going to deload, but we're also going to target exactly what we need to target, okay, to get ourselves right. Now, interestingly enough, the next injury is also IT band related, so we're going to just combine them and get going. So I've been dealing with it for 8 weeks. After a few weeks, it seemed to improve, but the last few weeks, the feeling is getting worse again. So I think this is probably the biggest thing that most people get wrong with IT band rehab, okay, is they continue to strengthen the muscles that go into the IT band rather than trying to find some sort of balance in the way that their body's actually constructed, okay? The first person talked about how they've had a long time off doing IT band rehab, and now that they're getting back into it, they're starting to get adductor pain and groin pain, okay? This is quite common actually, because when you're doing IT band rehab, you tend to do lots of glute stuff, glutes, and they just continue to get stronger and stronger, which can, improve your IT band stuff, because what you're going to be doing is strengthening all the muscles that go into the IT band so it doesn't get so overloaded. But you're losing the balance in your body, okay? You have muscles on the inside of the leg, like the adductors and the groin muscles, and you have muscles on the outside. Now, the outside muscles generally are much stronger. So what we have to do is find a balanced approach where we're still strengthening the adductor muscles and the groin, as well as doing our rehab out here and improving our range of motion with the muscles on the outside, like the hips and the glutes and things like that. IT band needs strength, but also good range of motion, just like everything else in the body. Now, we have to get on top of our adductors first, and then we're going to talk about some IT band strategy stuff for this second injury, okay? Okay, let's get everything out of the way, and I'm going to take off my shoes because I would get in trouble if I wore my shoes on the couch. Oh, what the hell is this camera angle? There we go. So, step 1 for the adductor stuff, we're going to start with doing a Copenhagen progression, okay? Step 1, we're going to get just on the knee, and we're going to lift our body off, 5-10 seconds, relax, okay? As you start to get better, you can build up to 20-30 second holds of this to get it moving, get it working, get it strengthening. Then we can start to add in some straight leg from the ankle, and also some slightly bent knee Copenhagens from the ankle too. Now, once you're getting on top of that, we can start to add in some of these little rotations that I really find super powerful with groin related things, okay? So what you do is you get yourself in the same position again, you rotate your body into a plank, and then you come back out. So you rotate the body, come back out, and it's essentially strengthening all of the groin muscles at the same time. We're gonna get super strong at Copenhagen's to get better with this groin related stuff, okay? Super important. I'd imagine that you've probably spent quite a lot of time focused on the glutes, focused on the IT band, and you've just lost a lot of strength in the adductors because they've probably not been doing anything while you've been resting. So we're gonna build that strength back up. Now, some general IT band stuff. Let's do that. Okay, so this is something that I really like to do for the IT band to try and improve this range of motion, okay? We're going to lift our leg up onto a elevated surface so that it's back up towards hip height. So my ankle's at hip height, okay? And what you can start to do is put your hand on the outside of the knee and start to push the knee flat as hard as you can in this really hard position, okay? Stretch into it for 10 seconds, 20 seconds. And then once again, go into this pulsing. So we're gonna do 10 seconds, trying to push that knee down and flat to the couch. Oh yeah, that's a good one. The next one we're gonna do is we're going to put one leg forward, one leg behind. I'm gonna do the other side. Imagine that this is the IT band that's ruined, okay? We're going to go into a hip flexor stretch. We're gonna take our hand over the top and you'll feel everything just stretching out. Now, as you feel comfortable with that, we're gonna do it more in this kind of position, okay? So we're gonna go here, I'm gonna lift up and you will feel your IT band on fire. And then back down. Knee back up. Through here. Oh, Jesus. So we're gonna go on our side. We're gonna go leg in the air, or bum in the air, and then the leg in the air. Now this one's really good because you can strengthen the hip on this side and the hip on this side because you're holding your leg in the air, and on this side you're holding your body in the air, so you can do both at the same time, which is really, really good. What we don't want to do is be forward like this. We want to be nice and straight. Nice and straight. That's about all you really need, unless you have a band like this, and you can do little fire hydrants too. You can do hip extensions with this band. I use this band all the time, as well as doing those side planks. Try those out, both of you. Let me know next week how you're going. Okay, next and final injury. I get hamstring soreness if I run more than an hour, or if I do some faster interval training. Can you give advice on how to solve this, please? Now, from that description, it's obviously quite a broad thing, so I'll keep this broad rather than giving you specific things, okay? It sounds to me like there's a strength in reserve problem. This is a concept that I like to think about. I don't know why, it just makes the most sense to me when I put it in this kind of framework. Imagine that your strength is up here as you start your run, and as you continue this run, you're essentially going to be losing maximal strength, okay, as you go longer and as that fatigue starts to build, as muscles start to get broken down. And then eventually you're going to get to that point where you're going to feel really sore. Maybe we have to spend some time not getting ourselves to that point of soreness in our training so that we can really maximize these strength sessions that we should be doing 2 to 3 times per week, especially on something that's actually holding you back from getting some good quality training in. That sounds like we're going to get on top of this strength as quickly as possible. Nordics are really good. I really like Nordics. I really like single leg hamstring stuff like drinking birds. I think they're called drinking birds. I personally really like single leg bridges because you can just chuck like 40 kilos on your waist, just hold it there and just do crazy single leg work. And what you can actually do is modify the position of your foot so that you can basically mimic running as much as possible. I'm going to show you what I mean. So when we're doing a single leg bridge, we could, do it with this foot position here. What we could also do is take our foot all the way out like this. Actually, I'll swap feet so you can see. We could take our foot all the way out to what looks like initial contact on the ground when we're running, okay? And we can get really strong in this kind of position where we stack heaps of weight on here, and we can really, work on our single leg hamstring strength in this lengthened position as well as here. That way we're gonna get really strong in this running range of motion, and that's probably gonna help you to push this strength reserve way out so that it's not slowing you down and it's not making you sore. That is what I would think of that one. Hopefully that helps in a broader sense. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're still in this video, you're a legend. Hopefully you got your answer for particular injuries. If you don't, let me know in the comments below for next week. Thank you. See you guys tomorrow. Peace out.